Every time I teach the core temperament framework, people ask me the same question. Where does temperament come from? Is it learned? Is it personality? Is it just the way someone was raised? And this is a really important question, I think, because the answer is more biological than most people realize, than most people have any idea. Your core type is not just a pattern of thoughts or habits. Every infant comes into life with a temperament. Researchers identified 9 variables that infants come into life high or low on, and those variables do not change. And so temperament is the biological or nature part of you that you come into life with. And it absolutely influences dramatically how you navigate the world. Part of that is predictably how your brain processes threat, the way that your body seeks safety, the way that connection feels either calming or overwhelming. In other words, your temperament isn't just psychological, it's neurological and biological. I'm Dr. Denham Slade, and I help you cut through all of the garbage online with scientific information that you can actually trust. In this video, I'm going to help you connect 2 powerful ideas, Polyvagal theory and core temperament theory. By the end of this video, if you pay attention, you're going to understand why people respond to the same situation in completely different and predictable ways. And if you're new here, here's the quick foundation. The core temperament theory, my core temperament model of personality, identifies 4 primary temperament patterns. CORE is an acronym. C stands for comfort and connection, and C's are the feelers among us. O stands for optimism, and O's are idealists. R stands for resolution, and R's are the doers among us. And E stands for exactness and excellence, and they are the perfecters among us. Each type has an innate and very different motivational driver, motivational center. Some people are wired primarily for resolution and action. Some are wired for connection and emotional harmony. Some are wired for energy and fun and optimism. And others are wired for improving things, for analysis and accuracy. You came into life with your temperament, and research has studied it for years, and it is unchangeable. Your temperament is unchangeable, and it's also not broken. It's really important to understand when the things that you can change and the things that you can't change. Your temperament, you can't change. You need to learn what it is, how to work with it, how to value it. Temperament helps us understand the way that the brain processes information and what motivates you. Every single temperament is motivated by very different things. C's are motivated by trying to obtain and maintain emotional settlement. They're motivated by comfort and connection. O's are motivated by fun, pleasant, positive emotions. R's are motivated by resolution, getting things done and moving forward. And E's are motivated by improving things. People aren't simply choosing these styles. Their brains, our brains, are wired differently. And that wiring interacts super predictably with the nervous system states described in the polyvagal theory. Let's start with the R. The R temperament is wired for movement and resolution. Their brain constantly scans for what needs to be done, what needs to be solved. The primary process that the R brain goes through is when something unresolved comes to the attention of the R. Doesn't matter what it is. Lost keys, lost TV remote, unfinished project. Once something unresolved comes to the attention of the R, it bugs them. It creates emotional frustration. And that emotional frustration or buggedness is what drives the R to address right now whatever it is that has them bugged. That internal tension that the R feels doesn't get resolved until action is taken. So from a nervous system perspective, this type often defaults toward the mobilized side of the stress response, meaning when stress increases, they move toward fight very predictably. So unlike other temperaments who freeze under pressure, the R, the doer, very predictably tends to mobilize. They act, they solve, they push forward. This is why under stress, they can become intense or direct. To other people, This might look like aggression, but neurologically, their nervous system is trying to restore stability by creating movement. It's that fight or flight response, but it's fight for the R. In relationships, this often shows up as the partner who tries to fix the issue immediately, address things right now. The challenge is that their partner may need emotional processing before problem solving. So the doer, the R, their nervous system is trying to restore control while the other person's nervous system is still trying to restore safety. Same exact moment, same exact trigger, very different biological priorities. Now let's look at the O. The O temperament is driven by positive emotion. The idealist nervous system thrives in the safe and social state described by the Polyvagal theory. When they feel connected, energized, and engaged with others, their system regulates naturally. But when their social energy disappears, when they feel isolated, when they feel criticized, bored, emotionally shut out, when they're experiencing a lot of hassle and resistance, the O's nervous system can destabilize really quickly. This is why outgoing types like O's often appear highly social. Connection isn't just enjoyable for them, it is actually biologically regulating. It helps them feel organized emotionally. Their nervous systems literally stabilize through interaction, which is also why isolation can feel so uncomfortable. Without external engagement, their brain begins searching for stimulation somewhere else. Sometimes that looks like creativity, sometimes it looks like distraction. Most of the time, it looks like distraction. And that's not because they're looking for it, it's because their nervous system is searching for something that feels alive. The C has one of the most sensitive nervous systems of the four. The C stands for comfort and connection, the feelers, and this temperament is deeply attuned to the emotional climate, to tone of voice, facial expression, subtle changes in energy. Their brain processes these signals incredibly quickly. That's what they're on the lookout for. And this sensitivity can be extraordinarily helpful. It's a great strength. Relationally, the feeler, the C, often detect emotional shifts before anyone else in the room does. It also means that their nervous system can register potential threat signals faster than others. It also means that their systems can send what I call false alarms. False alarms are threat signals that are sent via the vagus nerve up to the brain when there really isn't a danger. Again, that might be elevated voice, an elevated tone of voice, or a look on somebody's face that the C might interpret as a threat, when in reality it's a false alarm. So if a conversation becomes tense, or if someone withdraws a little bit emotionally, or the tone of the relationship shifts a little bit, their nervous system may move toward withdrawal or shutdown. This is the freeze response described in the polyvagal theory. To the outside world, it can look like silence or emotional retreat. That's when a C starts to get disorganized emotionally, they typically go inward and kind of shut down or freeze in the polyvagal way of looking at things. Outwardly, again, it just looks like silence or emotional retreat. But neurologically, their system is trying to protect itself from feeling overwhelmed. Finally, we have the E temperament. Again, E stands for exactness or excellence, and E's are motivated by perfecting things. The main process that the E-brain goes through is it looks at what has happened to try to make it better for next time. So E's live in the past, analyzing what they said, what they did, what happened, in an effort to try to make it better for next time. E's regulate stress through analysis and cognitive processing. So when tension starts to rise, their brain automatically begins to build a case, to build a framework. They observe, they analyze, they process internally before responding. E's are the most internal processors of any of the temperament types. And what the basic process is for the E-brain is they plan, they love doing research, they prepare, they practice, and they analyze. Plan, prepare, practice, analyze. That's the process that the E-brain goes through over and over again, iteratively trying to improve in their quest for the perfect process. And that cognitive engagement can be incredibly effective at regulating emotions. Thinking creates psychological distance from emotional overwhelm, kind of helps you to take a step back. In relationships, however, it can create lots of misunderstanding. Lots of times, partners in relationships with ease can interpret this pause as emotional distance. It's really important if you are an E or if you're in a relationship with an E to understand that when an E becomes disorganized emotionally, they go inside trying to process things and to get reorganized emotionally. Lots of the time that can feel like the E has withdrawn, is stonewalling. They can look like they're indifferent, when in reality, the E's nervous system is doing exactly what it was wired to do. Gather information before acting. Accuracy before reaction. This is why understanding temperament is so powerful in emotional regulation and relationships. Most relationship conflict isn't really about the topic being discussed. It's about two nervous systems responding differently to stress. The R, the doer, moves toward action. The C, or the feeler, withdraws to try to restore emotional safety. The O, the idealist, searches for connection, searches for a good time. And the E, the perfecter, searches for understanding, for logical understanding. None of these responses are wrong. They're simply different biological strategies. And when people learn to recognize these patterns, something really cool starts to happen. Conflict starts to turn into curiosity, and curiosity is where connection happens. If you want to discover your own temperament pattern, take the free core assessment in the description below or at whatsmycore.com. Understanding your temperament gives you a powerful map for understanding yourself and the important people around you, the people that you love. I'm also curious, I'd love to know which type sounded most like you. What do you think you are? Tell me in the comments below.